We're going to take your phone calls now this hour with Paul Hellyer, author of Light at the End of the Tunnel. The British Ministry of Defense has released more information on its UFO files, and they said back during World War II, then Prime Minister Winston Churchill was so concerned about a UFO case that he had it banned. He said, there's no way you're going to release this to the public. He was concerned about widespread panic, that citizens would stop going to church, and he just had the thing quashed. It was an amazing story. That's one of many that the British Ministry of Defense has released over the last day or two. Winston Churchill, the late prime minister there, had a UFO case put down because he was concerned the public would just be hysterical. Isn't that fascinating? Well, we'll be back with your phone calls in a moment on Coast to Coast AM. Paul, where do you get your energy? You don't stop.
I was blessed with it, I guess. But I live right. I eat well, and I swim regularly. So,
good for you. Have you always been health conscious?
Not as much as the last 10 or 20 years, I guess.
You know, I'm the same way. I wish I knew now what I should have known then. What a difference it would have made. How about you?
But isn't that true of all of us? And this is what I fear will be true of the world. 20, 30 years from now, our grandchildren will turn back and say, well, where were you guys when something could still be done? But no, I'm celebrating a birthday tomorrow.
Well, happy birthday.
My 87th birthday. So
That's fantastic. That's what my dad is, too. Same thing. Good for you.
Good and I'm still going strong.
Where were you born?
I was born in Waterford, Ontario, about 90 miles west of Toronto, where my father was a ginseng grower. He pioneered the ginseng business in Canada.
What got you into politics?
The economic issue. I was a child of the Depression, and I saw the misery and poverty and hardship that existed there. And at university, when I asked the professors, economics professors, if recessions and depressions were necessary, I was not satisfied with their answers, so I figured it out for myself and decided they were not necessary. There was never been a recession or depression that was necessary. Every single one has been due to some aspect of the banking system. And so I said, I just got to get elected and do something about this. So I ran in 1949 at the tender age of 25 and miraculously got elected. But then you learn the first lesson of politics. Just because you have your picture in the front page of the local newspaper doesn't mean you're somebody when you get to the Capitol. But fortunately, and I say this with a great reservation, the Korean War came along, and the depression that had been forecast by the economists for 1950 didn't happen. Then after the Korean War, we had the 15 or so golden years. And in Canada, at least during that period, our central bank printed money and created it for the use of the federal government in substantial quantities. And it was we did that from 1935, actually from 1938 or 9 to 1974, and then the central banks of the world switched to Friedmanism, and it's been downhill ever since.
Okay, let's go to the phones now, Paul. We'll go to Jason and Tacoma, Washington. There you go, Jace. You're up with us on Coast to Coast.
Well, it's an honor to speak with you, Mr. Hellyer. Another thing, gentlemen, is on September 27th, Robert Hastings and Bob Salas, along with Colonel Halt, are going to do an event at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C.
Beautiful.
With over 8 witnesses from the years at nuclear bases, and I guess he'll be on with George Knapp on the 15th. But my question for Mr. Hellyer is, it seems that the problem that we're facing, one of the major problems we're facing is the media, the mainstream media. I saw Nick Pope on TV today about the MOD files, and it was just like a 15-second, it seemed really short. So the question is why can't you're the former defense minister of Canada? Why can't you get on Larry King or some of these other shows? what are we going to do to break through the problem with the media? That's our roadblock.
Well, I wish I knew the answer to that question. As far as those major shows are concerned, I'm going to try and get on some of them. How much success I will have, I don't know until I try. I've just started promoting the book, which is hot off the press. But I do think that things are beginning to change, and I've had more reason for optimism in the last, I guess, 12 months or so than I've had previously. But the mainline press, and incidentally, in my book, and where I have a political agenda, in the last chapter, I say that the mainline press have to come clean and tell the truth about three issues that they really don't talk about. And one is the ET presence and technology. The second one is the monetary system and how it works. And the third is the negative aspects of globalization. And these are the three areas that they sort of sweep under the rug and treat without the deference that they deserve. And I think we're going to have to push them in that direction for all three issues, and I will do my little bit in the next 3 or 4 months to the best of my ability.
You really think they would, Paul? I don't think they're that economically savvy. And, and unless a UFO lands on the White House lawn, and it's not going to happen, they're not going to cover that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there comes a point when they can't deny it. 50 years ago, there was a lot more newspaper coverage. You know that.
Yes.
My files are full of stories and pictures of sightings and happenings 50 years ago.
And there were good reporters who chased these stories down.
Right, but I think there was something happened to the press that had visits from little men in black suits, and were told to avoid the subject. I suspect that something like that happened.
All right, let's go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Steve, you're up with us on Coast to Coast. Go ahead, Stephen. Welcome to the show. Steve, you there? Nope, I guess he's not. We'll try Joe in Bronx, New York on the wild card line. Go ahead, Joe.
Hi, yes. First of all, happy birthday in advance, Mr. Hellyer.
Well, thank you very much.
I wanted to ask now, concerning medical advances, do you know of, or have you heard of any medical advances that can be attributed to or derived from ET?
I would be careful to say that I know of any, but I was listening to a tape the other day that Paula Harris brought with her when she came up to interview me, and from Colonel Corso, and he was talking to somebody about a knife that the ETs had that they can use for an incision. They can cut someone open with a knife, and then after the operation has been completed, they can use the same knife to heal, to close the wound.
Seals you right back up, huh?
Yeah, just close it right back up. And coming back to the cattle mutilations, George, that we were just sort of sloughed over before, there is the possibility, and I just say possibility, I use that word, I think, correctly, dictionary-wise, that some of the cattle mutilations could be of domestic origin using medical instruments that were available from the extraterrestrials that are so neat and which cause so much curiosity and so on.
Okay, thanks. Let's go to Tyler, first-time caller in Lincoln, Nebraska. Hi, Tyler.
Good morning. How are you, gentlemen?
Good, sir.
Yes, my question for tonight was, I've been listening to the show on and off since February, and I've heard a couple of times about, like, Babylonian bankers or, like, a Babylonian tribe that has influenced civilization pretty much since the beginning. And I was wondering, the guest this evening has come across any information suggesting that, like, the ETs are connected to this Babylonian influence at all?
No, I haven't. I really don't know. And there's some fascinating things about antiquity. I am convinced that there's a very strong probability, and I personally believe it's true, that ETs have been visiting the planet for millennia, and that this is not a new phenomenon. But how much they were involved in various things, like the building of the pyramids or anything like that, I really don't know, but I find it as fascinating as a lot of other people.
And Tyler, also let me tell you about Zecharia Sitchin, whom you're aware of, Paul, of course.
Yeah, right.
In his work, Tyler, he is convinced that the Sumerians that came from that region were involved with ETs, and that they have, according to his interpretation of their text and tablets, that there was visitation back a long, long time ago. You can go to our website, coasttocoastam.com, and type in Sitchin, Sitchin, and you'll get some information on that. Have you ever met him, Paul? I have once.
No, I haven't. I've read his stuff, and I find it fascinating.
Yeah, really, great theories. But we had him scheduled, but he was in the hospital. So, and I guess he's doing a little better. So hopefully we'll get him back on. Let's go to Dean, your neck of the woods, Edmonton, Alberta. There you go. Go ahead, Dean.
Hi there, Paul and George. Just really awesome to talk to you both. I just wanted to say, Paul, that I am so proud that as a Canadian citizen, obviously, that a Canadian of your caliber is willing to reveal these important facts to the U.S. and to the world, for that matter. And I thought it was really interesting because I just watched a video the other day of William Cooper in 1989 at a UFO symposium talking about the secret government in MJ-12. And you've pretty much confirmed everything he said in that speech so far. So I just thought that was really interesting.
Well, thank you very much. Colonel Halt's name was mentioned recently, and I have a long section from an interview with him. It's a verbatim interview from him going to, well, I'm going to put an end to this nonsense once and for all, until he became himself a person who saw with his own eyes, and it changed his life forever. And he had some kind things to say about my book, and that he had heard a lot of the things that I mentioned in my chapter on this subject, but he paid me the compliment that mine was put together in such a way and documented better than some of the other things that he had seen or read.
Very good. Next up, we go to Atlanta, Georgia. Kelly's turn on Coast to Coast. Hi, Kelly.
Yes. Hi. Good morning, gentlemen. My question is, do you foresee in the near future any kind of mass uprising or revolution in the United States? And if so, what would be some possible short-term triggers of that?
Well, I can't say. I'm not a specialist in U.S. Politics, but I know that the United States is deeply divided, and I think I read something yesterday about the admission that there are now two economies. There's an economy for the rich and an economy for the poor. And I hope that you're not talking about the revolution in the sense of taking up arms, but I'm hoping that there will be a revolution of interest, people taking more interest in the political system and insisting on not just promises but results, and that in the near future that the people of the United States will demand that the leverage of the banks be reduced, say from 20 to 1 to maybe 3 to 1, and demand that the United States government start using its sovereignty and creating enough money to put people back to work and to give the states money that they need in order to restore services that they have cut, and to provide employment. And